Hello and howdy, everybody. A couple nights ago, I watched We Need to Talk About Kevin. I watched it for the second time. I saw this in the theater. I was trying to remember what year it was, if it was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Anywho, 2011. I put this in my year wrap-up. I can't say I put it in my top 10, but I definitely wanted to mention it, wanted to talk about it. I'd say it was probably in my top 20, easy for the year. I think it's an outstanding horror film. If you look at it as, a horror film in the, the same vein as, The Shining, or something that's not obviously terrifying, something that worms its way into your soul after a while. That's the type of horror film this is. I definitely can't. To call it a drama, it's just too much for a drama. It's just too much. So it's got to be a horror film. I have to say it's a horror film, and I think it's one of the better horror films of the last 10 years. I think I made the mistake of watching this film like after work, and it was late. I had to work the next day, so I need to go to bed. But I watched it, and I was just too excited. After the film, it was just... I can't say that I was like too scared, like, oh, I'm going to have nightmares or whatever. But I was definitely too jazzed, way too energized to go to bed. Just because I think it's a fantastic work of art. And it, it kind of thrills me in a way, and it just energized me, and it didn't allow me to sleep, soundly. So I guess I should have watched it in the afternoon or something, so I could take the day to absorb it. I got to give it a solid 9. It's a solid 9 for me. I can't think of many reasons why I'm not giving it a 10. Or why I won't give it a lower score. I just find it deeply disturbing. It's intelligent. It's insightful. It's making a statement about the modern times. It features, a tour de force performance from one of our most talented actresses. It's got not a bad performance in it. It's haunting, it's challenging, it's absolutely gorgeous, the cinematography is beautiful, the soundtrack is fantastic, the score and the music supervisor was done by Jonny Greenwood from Radiohead. As far as I know, this is one of his 3 films that he's done. I think, the man's got a gift for film. Kind of like Robbie Robertson from The Band, teaming up with Scorsese. And Robbie Robertson's worked with other directors as well. But I think Jonny Greenwood, I never want Radiohead to stop making music. But, this guy's got no, fear of losing any type of career. He's going to work forever, Jonny Greenwood. The film is about, basically, it's kind of The Omen. If you've seen The Omen, or if you've seen basically any demon child movie, this is that. This is that. But it's more art house. It's an art house take on The Omen, basically. Woman gives birth to a child. The child is seemingly inherently evil, just evil from the get-go. Does nothing but evil his whole life. I suppose that's the one thing that, keeps us from being like a perfect experience for me. But it still, I think, fits perfectly into the tropes of the horror genre, and that is that in horror films, people behave in a inhuman way. Human instinct, behavior, fight or flight usually becomes, obsolete in a horror film, just for the gore or just for the tension or whatever. When you're shouting at the screen, hey, don't go into that darkened room by yourself in the house where the killer is, they're going to do it anyway. Here, you've kind of got the same situation, except that the kid, is so evil and is so bad, and the mother is like the only one to see it, and no one listens to the mother, and she doesn't really make a big fuss about it. When everyone ignores her, she doesn't go crazy and say, what are you talking about? This kid is obviously evil. And that's it. No one, until the very end, and it's not a very satisfactory wrap-up, not that that's a bad thing, never do they ask why. Why is this happening? Why is he like that? I think it's left up to the viewer, and I think it's very interesting. Upon birth, she was very apprehensive about the pregnancy. She was apprehensive about the pregnancy. They considered abortion for a while. And they decided to keep it, to start a family. But as she got bigger and bigger and more pregnant, she had, bigger fears, bigger regrets. And as she was giving birth, like in the process of labor, she was saying, stuff like, no, this is wrong, this is wrong, stop it. I think that's what she was saying, is stop it. So I kind of thought that in that moment of, birth, her very wish and desire to have the baby not exist, I thought kind of marked the baby, that, perhaps it's not a, product of evil or something supernatural. Perhaps Kevin is a product of, human failing. After she gives birth, she still doesn't, see, right off the bat, Kevin never stops crying. Kevin is a bad infant, a bad little human peanut laying there, and he still manages to be evil. So it's not really open and shut about why he's like evil, but no one asks why. Everyone just lets him do these terrible things, without ever taking him to a hospital or punishing him. Even the mom, I thought, my mom would have never let me get away with any of that shit, So it's just like, how could... That's the only frustrating thing about it. But again, it falls in with that frustration of watching a horror film. Like, God, how could these people be so stupid? So you're kind of yelling at the screen the same way. As like, how can you not, get that boy help? How can you not just ship him off to a, insane asylum? But they never do. They never do. I think all the acting is tremendous. I'll tell you the cast. I guess the big three are, it's a small cast, it's an intimate family portrait in a way. Tilda Swinton, John C. Reilly, Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller here, Kevin, at the high school age. Recently, I can't believe I didn't remember him from this film, but he was in Perks of Being a Wallflower, for which he received a lot of attention. But I think he, got the attention to get that role from this. He was in this first. Maybe there's not too much, beneath the surface. Maybe there's not like too in depth. There's three people who play Kevin, and honestly, I think I liked the little kids better than I liked Ezra Miller playing Kevin. Just because, I don't know, it's kind of extra creepy watching a little kid do something, terrible. But, Ezra Miller's still good. He's very intense. I've heard him compared to a young Jack Nicholson. I don't know if I'd go that far, but he's very good, and he does have this, I don't know, palpable energy that seems to come off of him. John C. Reilly is one of my favorite actors of all time. I think, if anything, that's kind of what got me in the theater to begin with. One, I heard that it was a disturbing horror film, but I like John C. Reilly, and John C. Reilly makes interesting choices. He's in bizarre films. If you look at his career, it's like, wow, he's in everything. I think John C. Reilly is fantastic, and he's a big part of why I watched this film originally. He's good here. He is sadly the victim. He never does too much to ensure that he's not the victim, but he plays the victim here, and I felt bad for him. And Tilda Swinton. Tilda Swinton is without a doubt an artist. She's a very eccentric and unique person. I think currently she's living in a New York museum in a glass cage so that people can watch her live. I'm being serious about that. She's just an artist, and she's a deeply talented actress. Obviously in touch with her innermost core emotions. Here she's in every scene. The camera is basically always looking at her face. And she carries the film, and I think she's fantastic in it. I think even if you didn't like the subject of the film, I think you could appreciate her performance. About the subject of the film, I would think that women, I think this would play to women just better. I think it would, disturb them more. I think it would just be a more successful project when viewed by a woman, even though I think it's a great film. I think a woman would definitely identify with it. One, it's made by women. The director is Lynn Ramsey. I'm not very familiar with Lynn Ramsey. That she's an art house hero. She's made a few films. I can't tell you what they are. I know I looked her up after watching this, but I've already forgotten what films, because I've never seen her. This is the first Lynn Ramsey work I've seen. So she's a female, and also taking it from a novel, apparently an award-winning novel, by Lionel Shriver, who's also a lady. So you've got this story about motherhood that is made and produced by two mothers. So I think that women would, definitely get a lot more, for better or worse, out of this film than the average man. After watching this film, I told my immediate family about it. The family I get to talk to, my mom and my dad. And I said, guys, you've got to see, this movie. I concealed it as because my parents really like John C. Reilly as well. And so I was like, oh, you got to see this, John C. Reilly movie. He's really good in it. It's a different type of performance from John C. Reilly. And I didn't mention the whole, demon child, aspect of it. And, as soon as my parents told me they, watched it, I was like, Mom, what'd you think? And Mom was like, why did you make me, watch that movie? It was, terrible, and when my mom says a movie is terrible, I think that means it just made her think too much. It made her feel something that she doesn't want to feel, and, if you're challenged, maybe you're not going to be so happy about it. And I think my mother was definitely challenged. I think any mother would be deeply, troubled by this film, and that's why I think they should watch it. They need to be troubled, and think, it's gorgeous. Cinematography is gorgeous. Every frame seemed to be composed as a painting. It just looked absolutely gorgeous. It really established a mood throughout. It changes. There's not any one tone of color or so. I know there's a lot of red in the film, but not always. And I don't know. It just is gorgeous. I thought the color, it just is a fantastic example of tone with the music, with the color, with the performances. It just really just adds up to this thoroughly creepy, get under your skin, you know, tone, and it just maintains it throughout. It does hop skip in time, you know, quite a bit. It never tells you, you know, where you are, what year you're in, but it does hop skip in time quite a bit, so you do have to be an astute viewer. But I think it doesn't, like, demand that you pay attention to every second. I think you can pretty much figure it out. But you know, I guess that's sort of challenging. I don't know what else to say. You know, I just think it's a great film. You know, it's gorgeous. It's masterfully acted. It's, you know, again, it's disturbing. It's haunting. It succeeds thoroughly at being a horror film. It makes you think. It, you know, again, I think wants to say something about. I kind of don't want to give it away. Just because it's such a large aspect of the film. But if you read any type of review on this film, it mentions it. But it's, you know, kind of about school shootings, you know, mass school shootings. And so it's, you know, trying to be relevant to our modern culture. And I think it succeeds somewhat at that. It definitely, again, makes you think. But, you know, never until the very end do they ask why. Do they, you know, do they try? You know, they don't try, they don't ask why. They don't try to get him help. They just, in a way, and I think that means something. You know, I always try and explain away my complaints with art, you know, because I think that should serve some purpose of the art. And here, you know, it just shows you the laziness of the parents, the ignorance of the parents. And I think that's a large part of our, you know, problems with kids are that the parents don't give a shit. You know, they're absentee at best. You know, so I think it, I thought I had a better point there. I was going for something, then I lost it. But, you know, I think it is trying to help, you know, deal with these mass school shootings that are coming up. At least it puts it right in the modern time that makes it disturbing and makes you, you know, want to think about it. So I just think it's a success on pretty much every level. And even though they never ask why, I think that goes hand in hand with the horror genre. You know, it's like, it still drives you insane that people could be, you know, not that dumb, but just that, you know, they don't act like humans. You know, they put their survival, their self-preservation on the back burner, and that doesn't happen. You know, like, period. It can't, like, happen. You know, well, I guess that's not true. In a hero situation, I suppose that's definitely not true. So yeah, I just think it's a tremendous film. You know, I think it's fantastic. I had it in my top 20 of 2011. I think it's really good. I would recommend it to anybody. You know, I would say that anyone needs to see this film, especially mothers, just because I think they would just get a near traumatic experience out of it, and I think that's important. So I would definitely recommend this to any woman, especially a mother. So there you go. I think I've said all I need to say. We need to talk about Kevin. Fantastic film. I give it a solid 9. Thanks much.